Welcome back to Calvary Life. This is the podcast of Calvary Baptist Church for the membership of Calvary and also anybody else out there that's interested in local church life. It's been a few weeks since we've had an episode, but this is something that a topic we really wanted to cover and talk about for the church, and so we can just promote it and be ready for it, and that's our upcoming missions conference. So today I have with me Tommy Perry.
Hello.
How are you, Tommy?
I'm doing well. Josh.
Tommy, of course, is in charge of missions here at Calvary, so we're excited about him being here and talking about the missions conference. And he brought along a sidekick. So have you ever been a sidekick?
I'm kind of like Robin. I can be Robin.
Yeah, there you go.
Robin.
So Josh.
What are some other ones, Tommy?
Josh Robertson is with
other
us
famous
today.
sidekicks.
Very thankful for him,
Tonto.
his ministry, and what he does here at Calvary, which we keep trying to pile more and more on him. He has to learn how to say no, and he's doing that some.
We're getting there.
Yeah, but
it's not my strong suit.
and we at church realize that, so that's why we know who we can ask. But Josh now serves on the missions committee. Are you now the main guy, or?
Yes, you're in my chair, Josh.
Yeah, he's the chair.
I'm the chairman.
Yeah, so
that's why I'm at the head of the table.
That's right.
So these two have been coming up with ideas for our missions conference and with the missions committee, and so we just wanted to talk about it for a few minutes. And I've got a couple of questions I want to ask them. And really, I guess the first thing is Tommy, tell us the dates and I guess the main logistics to it.
Yeah. So missions conference is February 22nd, 23rd. Excuse me, of February here coming up. And our theme is Gospel Partakers United in Gospel Partnership. And that's based on Paul's words in Philippians 1, 3 through 7. And so how Paul partnered with the Philippians in the spread of the gospel so that more people will know and worship the King. And so that's what we are doing with our partners. Is we're both partakers of grace. He talks about that in that section of Scripture, and then partnering in the spread of the gospel. With us to the nations, and all of where we have partners throughout the world. So.
Yeah, so it's a Saturday and a Sunday, Of course we're not going to take everybody's complete Saturday, and so instead of doing that, what's the Saturday schedule for us?
So the Saturday schedule looks like we'll start at 9 on that morning, go through lunchtime, noonish. We'll have a lunchtime meal. There'll be some devotion there at the beginning, a breakfast with our partners, and a prayer time with them. So gathered at tables, and then we'll go from there and have a couple of breakout sessions where we'll have some of them speaking on different topics. So you can choose which topic you want to attend and go toward and move toward. And so that's breakout sessions, and then lunch will be provided. And all this is going to take place down in the Rock lobby and gym area. That's where we'll be focused in. And then we'll break out into classrooms upstairs in the Rock.
You mean we're going to eat a meal in the gym?
We're going to eat a meal in the gym, yes.
Is that allowed?
It is allowed, yes. Well,
he said he ran it by you, so if he didn't run it by you, then
it was actually my idea.
It was Charles' idea. So
anytime we don't have to change and flip the fellowship center, I'm all for it.
There you go.
And,
I'm with you on that.
So we got a big space that just sits there, and that was one of the actual answers or questions in our elders meeting last time was, we got this huge space. Why don't we use it more? So here we go. We're going to use it. Use it for a meal, and but they do need we do need the church to register, right? For that.
So let me go into Sunday, then we'll get back to registration.
Okay.
So Sunday's going to be just a normal Sunday in that regard, with a slight change as far as life groups are concerned. We're going to have a combined life group in the sanctuary. We're going to have a panel discussion with our mission partners. So that'll take place during the life group hour, and then morning worship will be normal as far as that goes, as far as normal time. But we'll have a special guest speaker, Chuck Lawless. Chuck is the Dean of Doctoral Studies. I had to look at my notes, and Professor of Evangelism and Missions at Southeastern Seminary in Wake Forest, one of our Southern Baptist seminaries. And so he'll be here giving the message that Sunday morning, and we'll have various mission partners involved in certain aspects of the service, In the afternoon, we'll have some folks speaking to students and their D groups, some missionaries, and then that night we'll gather at 5. We'll hear from a couple missionaries. Hopefully, our missionary and both missionaries in South Asia will be speaking to us, and then one from the Middle East will be giving a message that night about
Cool.
God's faithfulness and the missionaries' fruitfulness. So based out of Acts, and so that's Sunday. Kind of a brief thing about Sunday. Registration is what we need for our folks to take part in.
Yeah, so that's for Saturday.
That's for Saturday, so we can get a kind of a head count for meal, things that be prepared in that sense for breakfast and for lunch. But also, if you're one of the first 50 families registered, Josh, I didn't see your name registered in your family.
I looked for the registration on the website, and I didn't find it.
Oh,
Well,
we're going to
it's
have to
there,
make it
though.
more
It's
prominent.
It's there, though. It's there.
It was user error.
User error. Okay. All right. I'll be looking for it in the future. So we got 12 families right
I know
now
a
signed
guy.
up, but the first 50 are going to get a complimentary kind of free books, free resources, about 5 of them, and there's from a kid's book about missionaries to adults, autobiographies. So just a kind of a blend of free resources and just some good stuff. So, but to get those, you got to register.
That's right.
So we've got to we see who's registered and what number you're in, and so the first 50. So we've got about 38 slots left to fill.
37 if Josh finds it.
37, yes, that's
Yep.
right. And so you can. So it's on the bulletin. There's QR code in the bulletin. It's on the website. There's a sign down by the Rock lobby with a QR code on it. It gives you the schedule and everything. So
I'm on it tonight.
Yeah.
It's on it tonight. Gotcha. So
So there will only be 37 left.
that's right. So that's what we need the church family to do in preparation for that, just for Saturday purposes in that regard. So
Yeah, that really helps us out. We want to make sure everybody has food, obviously, but we don't want to cook so much or have so much here that we're being wasteful as well. So it just really helps us to know who's coming. So if you'll do that for us, we would really appreciate it. So so that's kind of the logistics. So let me ask a couple of questions, and Josh, I'm gonna start with you.
Okay.
And because I've heard this testimony before, and I want to hear it again about really what the missions conference meant to you the last time we did it. This is our second biannual, I guess is the word you use.
Yes.
So tell us again what that conference meant to you 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was just the main thing was, it was, hey, I'm going to give some of my time that I would normally have to myself to come and learn. I think that time it was a Friday, Saturday, and then we had a little bit of stuff going on Sunday. But Friday night was impactful, and we're talking about, the whole theme was gospel feet, and us being, called to go and to take what we know and to share it with other people. So that was powerful in and of itself Friday night. But then Saturday, really getting, we took time. We went around the fellowship center. We had an opportunity to pray for our different groups. Some of those missionaries were there, and we were actually praying for them while they were sitting there with us. I think that was really my first exposure to Amy and some of the stuff that Amy was doing. I've since been on a missions trip with Amy, and got to learn a little bit more about her. But just all of those other opportunities that we had to learn what some of the struggles were, what are some of the needs, what can we do now to support you? That was impactful. But then we went and we had some sessions, and I went to a session with CV, who's a missionary that we support in India. And I'm sitting in there, and he of course he starts talking about, hey, we've got a school, and as a school teacher, you're sitting there going, all right, so there is stuff that I can go do. There is stuff that's out there. So I remember just being impacted by not only what they were doing, but just what they were willing to experience and go through for the spread of the gospel. And so I leave there majorly convicted, and then I go into a room with Moses, who is a missionary that we support in Kenya. And I left there just absolutely wrecked. Just when you hear the persecution, you hear the struggles, and yet no one allowed any of that to stop them from carrying out their mission. And I leave those 2 sessions, and I'm sitting here going, I have the most comfortable life that anybody could really ask for. I've got a great job. I've got a great family. I'm able to support all of these things. What am I doing?
Yeah.
And that was just kind of how I left. And we actually go into Sunday night, and Moses is actually going to speak. And before we even got there, I walked up to Moses. My first interaction with Moses was shaking his hand and saying, "Moses, I'm coming to Kenya this summer. I am not going on our 8th annual family beach trip this summer. We are giving that up as a family so that I can come to Kenya." And you know, I remember telling Valerie that and having that conversation with her, and then having to call my mom and tell my mom, "Hey, Mom, I love you guys, but I got to go." And so really getting to go and experience that. So since that missions conference 2 years ago, some of the things that I can speak on that it did, number one, it reignited my passion for prayer. Just being able to pray for different people and not just myself. The second thing was I've had the opportunity now to go on 2 mission trips to Kenya, not just one, but 2. And I'm set to go on a trip to Vermont this spring. So
Yes. Hey, I just booked those tickets today, buddy. So.
there we go. So I mean, those are just things where it was, I'm a dad. I've got 2 kids at home. I've got a wife. I've got a job that I have all these responsibilities here, but it's within our grasp. It's within our reach. We just have to be willing to make small, minute sacrifices, and I feel bad even calling them a sacrifice, but we have to make minute sacrifices to answer the call to go and to help and to be those ambassadors of Christ's message that we're called to be. So that was really a lot of the things that came to me from that missions conference a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and so Tommy, coming off of that, what would you say is the purpose of this missions conference? I think some of that Josh may have mentioned, but just lay it out for us. Why do we feel like this is something that's necessary for us as a church family?
I think number one, we want to celebrate God's faithfulness in mission endeavors here at Calvary, and how we've seen Him be faithful and experience that through our partners being here, and to encourage, like Josh is saying, to encourage our partners and make that connection with our congregation. I think maybe a lot of folks know maybe who we support. There's a kiosk in the fellowship center foyer, but how many pay attention to that or grasp it? This is an opportunity to make that connection, which you did, and that propelled you to go. And so just making that connection with partners and our people together. That's kind of the main purpose, is to put a face with a name, and hear testimony of how God is working in places, throughout the world. And we want to be a refreshment for those who are coming. We don't want to burden them. I know they have speaking responsibilities and things of that nature, and people want to hear from them. But we don't want to burden them in any way. We want this time to be refreshing. And I heard that many times in our last conference, as missionaries were prayed for, and just how refreshing it was to receive that from the people of God here at Calvary. And so. That'd be my short answer, long answer.
Yeah.
So.
The only thing I would add to that I think is something that we learned at the missionary conference that we went to. A couple of us staff members went this past fall to a conference down in Jacksonville. Is I think it's also important that we promote that we are the ones who are supposed to be sending the missionaries.
That's right. Yes.
We're supposed to be raising up the next generation of missionaries. Short-term, long-term, lifelong missionaries. Yeah. And so we want that fire, like Josh talked about. That's a part of this experience, is come and get a glimpse of what God is calling us to do and how you can be a part of it.
Yeah. And that's a good point. For some reason, I had a Sunday night message about that, and I completely forgot.
Well, maybe you just thought you'd already said it all. So
but that's true though. That the local church is the sending agent, biblically, and I think our partner from the Middle East is going to touch on that on Sunday night a little bit in his message. But you're right, yeah.
And so when we get to rub shoulders with missionaries, we get to see them as real people.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see that even as Josh was talking about, we get to see them as what's been going on in their life, the struggles they've had, those kind of things it just all of that makes it real. And I think maybe God will stir in people's hearts to do missions. But I'm praying that it's more than just going on a week-long mission trip. I'm praying that someone just feels really called that they're supposed to give themselves to this, and whatever that looks like, and then hopefully we as a church rally around that and help them and equip them and support them, encourage them, and make it happen. I think that's a part of this missions conference that I hope we maybe that's the next step. That's the next thing that we at Calvary want to be a part of.
Yeah, and that's one. I see your questions here. About how you can pray for the conference, and so we'll get to that. But that's one that hearts are stirred. In that effect, that people, toward the nations, toward gospel ministry in general, maybe not, a short-term mission trip perhaps, but maybe long-term, that might be missionary work, or that might be pastoral work, that might be planning a church, maybe in this, So we again, the hearts are stirred in that way, and for all peoples and all places. So.
Yeah. So, Josh, for the committee's sake, when y'all been, I know I'm assuming some of this, that y'all have kind of each had someone you've reached out to and kind of got the missionaries kind of ready to come and all that, and even then tried to make some plans of where they were going to stay. What's the talk with the committee of why do we want to put them in homes? I mean, what was the discussion about that, of why we want them to stay with church members and that be a part of this weekend as well?
I think the big thing is, when you open up your home to someone to come in, to me, number one, that's more hospitable than sending someone to a nice hotel room.
Right.
Even though the nice hotel room may be a little bit more relaxing and not quite as hectic. I think about if I were to open up, my house, they would probably leave going, oh my goodness, that place is crazy. Between two kids and a black lab.
Yeah.
But I think number one, it's more hospitable. Number two, I think that's what that's what our church is trying to do. We're trying to create families that are on mission together.
Yeah.
And you've kind of mentioned that that's a desire out of this conference is, for people to go. Some of the things that we're looking at missions trips, we want to make things so that families can go, because to me, where real growth and real relationships are built is when you and your family are serving God together. And so just opening up your home, number one, is an opportunity for your kids to see your servant leadership. It's an opportunity for them to get exposure to these missionaries, to see, hey, they are real people. These are awesome people. These are things that we could potentially one day aspire to be, if that's what God is calling us to. So I think that those would be the big things. It's more hospitable, and number two, it's a growth opportunity for families.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's so key is, and I'm thankful that Tommy, do we have everybody taken care of?
For the most part, yeah, we do. I think there may be one or two, maybe one outstanding one at this point. So, CV is coming. He's bringing his son and his daughter-in-law, son Isaac, daughter-in-law Katie. I think they're still looking for some place to plug into. So if you're out there and they're newly married, I say newly married within probably, I think, 2-3 years.
Yeah. Didn't Paul do that?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he
yes,
did that wedding. Yeah,
in Atlanta. So
I think it's within the last year or so.
So they'll be here. So, but everybody else is covered in that regard. So, but yeah. So
yeah, and I remember you telling me that even somebody on the committee knows them very well. But it's like, we would love to have them, but we want somebody else in the church to get that relationship, and like Josh is talking about. So if you're out there and you're interested in that and want to host a young family that doesn't have the 3 kids and the dog, so it should be nicer, as in the missionaries. And you may have that, and that's okay. But if you'd like to host, call Tommy at the office or send him an email, and we'll get that last missionary family taken care of and hosted. So we want to be good hosts for that. So
one other thing, last year we did with the beautiful, or 2 years ago with the beautiful feet, the gospel, we did sort of a giving project of shoes that went to Kenya with Echoes, and then some of our local partners received some shoes as well. People bringing in those, but we're going to do that same thing. We're going to have a giving project, and so that'll go toward purchasing Bibles for our overseas partners. So all the money's collected that weekend will go toward purchasing Bibles that they are able to purchase Bibles in their own country. So you ship Bibles overseas, that's going to be difficult to do, but they can buy them in country with the monies that's given, and distribute. There's a great need. We just got back from Kenya back in December. A group of us, the teen conference, and I wish we had Bibles to hand to those who desired them, but we didn't have those. And so, but this gives the opportunity for you to give toward that. And our local partners and our North American partners, just a plug for Thomas Nelson, they gave us 200. Donated 200 Bibles, so that we're able to distribute. So we're going to give those out to, a case to Wiregrass Hope, or to the Ark, or to the Harbor, so that they can hand out to the people they minister to, and then ship those boxes to New York, or to New Orleans, or to Portland, or Vermont, so they can use those in every way they see fit as they need them. So so that's the special, I guess, giving project sort of geared toward in that weekend, is collecting monies to then send out to purchase Bibles.
All right, so let's talk about our missionaries that are coming. I know that we've got a pretty good list this year.
Yep.
Some new folks who haven't been here. So do you want to run down that list? Or?
Yeah, I can. I got it right here. So we got, here we go. Joe Carroll will be here. Joe's somewhere in the Middle East, and so he'll be here. Moses, as Josh mentioned, Moses will be here. Moses from Kenya, Echoes of Mercy. Michael Carroll from Vermont, representing just the college there, and the work there in the Northeast. Greg and Michelle Woodward from New Orleans and Faith Baptist. They'll be here. Brett and Leah Lambert from Misioteca, Guatemala. Arely Perez will be here, also from Guatemala. Randy and Tina Duckett from Portland will be here. Let's see here. Stephen Toney from New York will be here. And then CV and his son and daughter-in-law from, I guess, South Asia. We can say that. Will be here as well. I think I covered everybody. There's only one of our other South Asian partners, IMB partner, is not able to be here with us. I think he's the only one.
Yeah.
But he's going to send us a video, and we'll show that at some point, maybe on that Sunday night service. So those, and then obviously our guest speaker Chuck Lawless from Southeastern will be here. So
yeah, awesome. So a lot of good folks, a lot of folks doing great ministry around the world and close at home and also around the world, literally on the other side of the globe. So very excited to see those folks again and hang out with them, and I hope our church family will really put this weekend in the forefront of their minds. Make this a priority to be here. Come Saturday morning, have breakfast, and
it's only 3
hours.
That's
right. Just enjoy the morning with us. There's no college football to get in the way or anything like that, and then of course Sunday, just come and be with us in the Sunday morning and Sunday evening service, so we can just enjoy the time and enjoy missions. I'll close with this. I'm reading a book called now that I say every time I want to name a book, I can't think of the name of it. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I can't think of it now. That's something. It's called the St. Andrews 7. I got it at the missions conference. It's about Thomas Chalmers and the 6 guys that he really ministered to or poured into as a university professor, and they began and the point of this story is they began a missions like a union, a missions group, as these students did, and really began to study missions, find out about missionaries, brought missionaries in, listened to missionaries, and they really account that is what set them afire to do missions. And so in some ways, I think this is one way that we as Calvary are trying to do the same thing with our church family, is to let them, let's put a focus on missions for a few days and really see what God wants to do with us when it comes to missions. And I appreciate, Josh and Tommy, your hard work and the committee's work to get all the logistics lined up and try to figure out how to do this the best way. And just really looking forward to the conference itself. Any parting comments, Josh?
No, I think just to, kind of to echo you, not only me, I really honestly didn't have a whole lot to do with the planning other than kind of being there and offering support. But Tommy has done a lot of the logistical stuff. So shout out to you, Tommy. And then also, we've got some ladies on our committee that have really taken some things and taken on some ownership of that and are going to do a phenomenal job. I think Chelsea Bartlett and Lindsay Holloman and Lee Glover.
Katrina Schumann.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
And so, I mean, they've done a phenomenal job as well, and Ben Snell also. So we've got a great group. I think we've got a phenomenal committee, and our hope and prayer is that this is just something that impacts. If it impacts one person, then it was worth it.
Yeah, and I think we'll see a lot more than that. I think
too.
God's going to do great things with it. Tommy, anything?
No, just I almost, that book you mentioned, I almost purchased that book to put in for the resources. A packet there for those free resources when you register. For
when the
that
37
Saturday.
Other families
That's
register,
right,
they
that's
get
right.
these free
That's
resources.
right. So
When I finish
be
the
aware
book,
of that.
I'll give it to the number 50.
There you
There
go.
you go. No, just be in prayer, like you said. Praying for. I'll go ahead and answer that question that you have here. Just pray that all the details come together. And for safe travel for our partners as they come and they go, and then just everybody who's attending, just safe. Good. I mean, this is maybe a small thing to some degree, but just good weather. Just nothing crazy happens that weekend as far as that goes. How weather's been lately, and that hearts are stirred, and that our partners are refreshed and encouraged by their time with us. So that's how the church can be praying moving forward. So.
All right, so that's February 22nd, February 23rd. Those 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. Be praying that all of those things come together, and that we're just able to have a great weekend with our missionaries and enjoy the time together. So we'll call this one quits, and hopefully we'll do this again soon, so that we are for God, for Dothan, and for the world.